Hi everyone, Rebecca here. This is my presentation for Module 7, a wrap-up of putting it all together for our class ACTE 630, Current Tech for Online Instruction. It's philosophy of online teaching and learning. So my philosophy for teaching in general also applies to online learning. I believe that all students deserve an education that is one, engaging, enriching, and also personalized for them. Students learn the best when they feel safe, emotionally connected, engaged, and they feel understood. I think all of these qualities go together whether you are an in-person teacher and you are face-to-face with students, or whether you are online teaching in a cyber school or on an online platform. Students need that security in order to perform to the best of their abilities and to be engaged. During the pandemic, it's been challenging, to say the least, learning how to teach online, but then also connecting with students and also making sure that they are okay during this pandemic. So during the pandemic, when I was virtual, I did daily check-ins with students. I had office hours daily where students, and even coworkers could pop in just to kind of say hi. It wasn't a mandatory thing, and I definitely had a lot of students that would check in. Also working on that social emotional learning. I know throughout our unit, throughout our course, our 1 week, we focused on social emotional learning embedded into other core subjects. So that was also something that we hit hard on during the pandemic as well as building the connections with students and engaging them in growth mindset. And then also giving them multiple ways for engagement when they are online. All students learn differently, and it's great to have several different options for them, such as Flipgrid's, discussion or blog posts, presentations, using editable PDFs or PDFs using Kami, ClassKick, Blookits, and there's so many more that you could use to help engage students. The biggest thing I saw was once I was able to get students engaged in what we were learning and engaged in their social emotional learning and building connections with myself and others, the better the flow of our class or my class went. Looking at the online teaching standards, there are a lot that I thought applied to both in-person learning and also online teaching. The standards I have listed on this slide definitely spoke to me as a human being and also as an educator. So the first one I have is continuing the pursuit of knowledge and skills related to online learning and pedagogy. I am definitely a lifelong learner, and I love to find new ways and new applications and new skills that I can use teaching, whether it be online or face-to-face. That teachers support a safe digital learning space for all learners. Just like in the face-to-face learning, you want to create a safe environment, creating that safe space for digital learning as well. Building a community among your students that are diverse learners, I think, is also another one. This also promotes better for more engagement and active learning. Knowing your population and who you are serving will help build connections and will help progress and engage students. Also, being able to meet the needs of all learners, regardless of their background, or even if they have a disability, being able to reach all of your learners in some way, whether it's through visuals, videos, or even notes, being able to connect with everybody. Also, establishing relationships through timely and encouraging communications with various platforms. I know there's lots of different platforms out there. My school currently uses ClassDojo as well as Schoology and email to communicate with parents, but definitely establishing that relationship for communication offers a great door to help students and parents as well as digital tools that we have for engagement and online learning. I definitely found so many more tools just in this class, and that is something that's definitely useful to reach all different types of learners in the classroom. And then also, as an online teacher, providing a forum for sharing the varied talents and skills that learners bring to the online learning environment. All students are different and they all learn differently, so being able to have different ways that they can show their talents and show what they are learning in the online environment is also very important. Supporting students' social, emotional well-being. This is a topic that I know is very hot right now in education. It is something that is being addressed. I know in my school we have SEL twice during our 6-day cycle for about 30 to 40 minutes that we just focus on this with students' homerooms. So there's more ways than just putting it and building it into your lessons, which is great, but also, working with students. And that's something that I work with my students as well in special education. I do daily check-ins with almost all of my students. If not, I check in with them at some point during the day, incorporating that social emotional learning into all subjects as well, especially when you're virtual. Even if it's just how are you feeling is definitely going to help you build those connections with those students. And it's also going to give you an idea of how they're feeling and checking in with them, knowing that someone else is caring for them is definitely, comforting to students, as well as engaging their growth mindset, whether it's through activities, whether it's through meditation or different ways to help them really look at things in a different perspective. And I think also with online learning is giving students time to socialize with friends. During the pandemic, when I would open my Zoom room for students, a lot of students would come just so they can talk to other students, other friends in the class. Was definitely something that was needed multiple days. And I think that is also very well in order for them to use their social skills, to be able to have a safe space online where they can talk, where they can make those connections with other people. And then also for organized collaboration as well, getting an idea of where your students are, how they're feeling, and what their emotional and social needs are at the time, especially during a pandemic when sometimes we go from being in person to virtual. It's kind of great to be able to check in with everybody and making sure everybody is doing okay. For asynchronous and synchronous interactions, there's definitely different ways, and there's so many different ways that you can bring this into when you are teaching online. Synchronous, such as doing discussion groups where you can go back and forth, using breakout rooms in either Zoom or Google Hangouts to, do different learning activities, to have different interactions with students, and then also to have live interactions while you are synchronous. If you are in a Zoom or in a breakout room, is definitely something that benefits all students. And for asynchronous, the discussion boards where students can go back and forth, blogs, flip grids, messaging apps are definitely some items that are really useful in this digital age as well. And some of the bonuses is a lot of these apps and a lot of these different tools you can use have where the teacher has to, preview certain messages or has security settings enabled to make sure and monitor that everyone is being safe and using digital etiquette while they are online is also very important. So how has this class informed the work that I'm currently doing? So currently I am in person being a teacher, and I'm face-to-face with students, though we never know if we're going to have virtual days or not. But this class has definitely taught me some new applications that I can use in this classroom. I love the module where we were able to discuss different apps. I definitely wrote a lot down and really looked into several apps. Being mindful about the tools that I'm using for students, especially with students with disabilities. Being able, to double check, how's my background, how is my text to speech, how can learners, manipulate these tools that are online. It also has given me new ways for engagement when students are virtual. And then it's definitely more like face-to-face learning than I initially realized, and how so many of these tools can be used in a blended model, whether I am face-to-face or whether I am virtual. It is great to have now this pocket and these resources to use. After the pandemic over, I'm definitely going to still stick to a lot of the activities and concepts that we learned in this class, especially for multiple ways of engagement, checking in, using discussion boards, making sure I'm using SEL throughout my lesson, and then all of those different tools that we learned for online learning. I don't think I'm going to go back to how I did it before. I love incorporating the technology for the students, especially when they have access. It gives them a different way to express themselves versus just doing pen and paper, and it is more engaging for them as well. Some of the biggest ahas that I took away from this class about teaching online are the amount of applications that are out there that can be used by educators, and also the amount of applications that are free for educators. I think that is really great, especially in a community where this, people can make money off of this, and the fact that there are so many free applications that you can use that will promote engagement is definitely something that really stood out to me, as well as understanding the planning for online teaching, and then also being able to use the technology, as well as the similarities to the face-to-face learning. I thought that online learning was definitely a little bit different than face-to-face, but after going through this course, I realized that there are so many similarities from face-to-face learning to virtual teaching that I can definitely, use a lot of what I'm learning about in this class in my classroom while they're in person, and then I can also transfer it to if they are virtual, as well as all of the different ways that I can use online resources in a virtual setting for student engagement. That I think is the biggest takeaway from this course. I believe that all students, in order to be very successful, need to be engaged, and that they do better when they are engaged, when they are safe, when they feel that they can accomplish their goals or they can accomplish something. And I feel that this course taught me so much about student engagement virtually, that not only do I feel confident about doing it in the future virtually, but also in my current face-to-face learning as well. I really took a lot from this class, and I cannot wait to continue on and do more research on my own and continue on looking at virtual learning as well. Thank you everyone for watching my video, and I hope all of you guys have a great night or a great day, and I can't wait to look and watch your videos as well. Congratulations guys, we did it. Bye everyone.